Good morning. Welcome out there. Let's make sure that the stream is streaming while the stream is stream worthy. It's streaming, at least from a technical level. Hello. Hello. Okay. We're good. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Resales. My name's Ryan. I get stuff from yard sales, garage sales, thrift stores, and other similar places and try to make a few extra bucks online. I've been out the past, left Thursday, got back yesterday. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 days. I had eBay on that wait mode where you can still make sales, but you're out, and it tells the seller that you're out. And so I got to ship a bunch of stuff today. And I come back, 16 sales on eBay and 1 on the Crooked Spine. So appreciate Shane for opening that up. And you look down there in the links and stuff down there, and you'll see the Crooked Spine where we sell. It's a sort of a specialty book site for sci-fi and fantasy and horror and that sort of stuff. So if you're into that, go down there and see. And I try to price my stuff under eBay pricing there, so you can get a little bit better deal. They take less of a cut, so it all comes out the same. So that's what we're doing. So 16 sales on eBay, 1 on the Crooked Spine. And a few good ones. And it was good to see some stuff move. Some of it was some stuff I got last week. Let me see. All of it was, pardon my boogers. Over half of it, I think, was stuff I listed in the past month, and some of it in the last week. So, but there's a couple lingering things I was happy to get out the door. So, let's take a look. All right. We'll attempt to go low to high, but there's some other stuff thrown in there. First up was, got these off of one of those Chinese sites, and so just to see if I could flip them online a little bit. And that is, let me find it first. Oh, where'd you go? No, honestly, I sold these. These are some pretty dragonfly hair clips, and they went for, I believe it was $8 shipped. And will I make money on them? I actually don't know. And they may be on page 2 or something. Is that page 2? Do I have 2 pages of stuff? Anyway, sold those about $2. So fun little flip there. I actually used to do, it used to be a lot cheaper. I would say back during before tariffs, and like this was back in the mid 2010s, maybe a little bit, yeah, mid 2010s. I actually had a good. I go out to the flea market and sell a bunch of stuff, and I was pulling a lot of stuff off of eBay from China that was just inexpensive jewelry, and flipping it there, and you could get stuff for less than $1 shipped. Because the weird exchange rate and the Chinese subsidizing their people and weirdness. But you get stuff cheap and flip it out at flea markets and still sell it inexpensively and still make some money. And that was always fun. And that's a little bit of an attempt on that, but it's still not as cheap as it used to get. Anyway, next up. Dude, $7 for this. This is a more modern copy, and I've actually got another one in there somewhere, same one. And I've had a lot of success selling the Dune books by Frank Herbert. They sell pretty good. The more modern copies that are just like your mass market paperbacks, not so much. But like anything 5 years old or older tends to do decently. Now get them at $1 or less. But I've sold old copies in the $20 range and that sort of thing. So that's always good to pick up. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. again, once again from Lakeland, Florida, my most consistent viewer. And hello, the other two that are out there lurking. So Dune, buy Dune, flip Dune if you can get it. Particularly the old ones and the old hardcovers and the ones by Frank Herbert, not the more modern stuff. I have not had success selling those. All right. This was the stitched sale. Stephen King drawing of the three. This is one of the earlier paperbacks. This went for $4 plus shipping. So I always pick up the, if I can get them for $1 or less, I get the Dark Tower stuff. That's probably the most modern of his books that sell decently, particularly the hardcovers, and they do well wadded up. So Lonnie, good morning, Lonnie from Middle Tennessee. Hope you're having a good one. Anyway, so grab some these Stephen Kings, the modern Stephen Kings. I have found they don't sell all that greatly either. Your experience may differ, but I don't get them anymore. I just get the old books that, and even those sometimes don't sell well. So anyway, there's us going on there right there. All right, next up, we're gonna do some $10 books, $9 books. This is Murder by Earl Stanley Gardner. Got this one and a few others right here in this stack. I went to a estate sale last week, and I am not necessarily friends, but reasonable acquaintances with one of the guys running it. And he said, come back Sunday, I'll let you fill a box up for cheap with all the stuff so we don't have to haul it away and that sort of thing. So I go back Sunday, and I get a box of books and a few other things for $10. And this is one of them. Earl Stanley Gardner with a dust jacket, $9. This is one of those. This is one of those series, the old Perry Mason and that sort of stuff, that you would think would be worth more, but they're not. The noir and the older detective novels, they haven't really gone up in value. They're not highly, majorly collectible, and the guys collecting them aren't going to pay out the nose for. Maybe I could get more if this was like in super duper mint condition, which they almost never are. That's the only way these things have like a large amount of value with these old detective novels from the 40s and 50s and earlier. That being said, they're worth between $5 and $10 a piece, if they're like with the dust jacket in decent condition. So, and you can wad up the ones in a little bit less condition. I've done that okay before, but this is one I grabbed and one I flipped. Next up is from that same batch. Where'd you go? The Law, a novel by Roger Vaillant. I'm going to say it's French. Vaillant. This was $9.99. So another one of those old. This was really good shape. There was a good, at this estate sale, there was a good amount of hardcovers with dust jackets that were in pretty good shape, and I got all the old ones. And I'm going to probably, the ones that weren't worth putting up for like $10, I am probably going to lot up and try to sell that way at $2 or $3 a piece, but in big lots. Cowboy Bebop Jazz, Area 51. Cool. Cowboy Bebop was one of the few old animes I liked because I don't like the humor in them. So when they get all goofy and silly and that way, I never was crazy about it. Next up, and this is this is for one of my favorite celebrities. This is Dolly Parton. This is a 1990s biography for $9.99. Bless her heart, just lost her husband, 60 years married to a dude nobody knew about. And there was like 5 pictures of him. One of them's in this book. So this is like the high end of selling that book, by the way. Atlas frame in the back. That's the Atlas frame. Oh, that. Yeah, my big picture. Yes, I like it too. I like old maps. If I had room and money and that sort of thing, I would like get old maps and hang them up on my walls. So that was a present from my wife one year. It was great. I love it too. Anyway, Dolly Parton stuff. death has a when people are getting to the spotlight for one unfortunate reason or another, the value on their stuff does tend to tick up a little bit. So this book, I would say if you don't get it for less than $1 though, if you're gonna flip it. But this Dolly, bless her heart, love her. Book sold. All right, next up. Oh, from the Heresy box. If you don't know me, if you've seen, I know I do a whole lot of religious stuff, and I am conservatively Christian, and I have what I term as a heresy box, and that's where stuff like this goes. This is Revelation, its grand climax at hand. This is Seventh Day Adventist, which like borderline on some of their stuff. They acknowledge a lot of a lot of the your small orthodox stuff. It's just they're almost like an apocalyptic type cult type thing. Anyway, this is one of their books. Or is this J Dub? No, this is Jehovah's Witnesses. This is Heresy. Jehovah's Witnesses from the Heresy box. This went for some of their material sales. This went for $11. It's from 1988. So I always look their stuff up because sometimes it sells, sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, there's that. All right, next up. We're getting on up there now. Another $10 sale. Been sitting on this one a while. I thought these were going to do better. And I think if you had the set of them, the Oxford Mark Twain, What is Man? This one for $10. So another bunch of $10 book sales this go around, which means I kind of make my money back. They will ship anywhere between $4 and $6. Say eBay gets their dollar or two, so I'll come away with $1 or two on it, maybe a little bit more on flipping those. Particularly the ones I got, get them in a big lot. You just sell whatever you can, and one's stuff that's been hanging around a while, it's kind of already been paid for. So whatever you kind of pull out of it's profit. So that's kind of how I read that. Next, all right. Now we're getting up there with some of these sales. Where's this one? I have sold this book before. Julia Child, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, Part 1. This is not a first. This is from 1961. This is not a first edition, first printing, but it is earlier. There's a Part 2, bottom up, make more money. $30 for this one, though. And this is the second or third copy of this I have sold over the last few years. So this was a neat find. We actually had this. My wife looked through it a little bit, and I think actually took some tips out of it. And she said, didn't need any more. So I'm up for sale, $30. So I'm trying to learn cookbooks. I've got a few old, and trying to get old ones, and we'll see how it goes. That's kind of what I'm focusing on is older cookbooks, and I've done okay. Next up, bag of toys. Actually, we're gonna go. I got 4 toy sales I need to talk about. First up, this was a little bit of a disappointment. I probably should have taken this out to the flea market. This is an old Tonka truck. This went for, I think, for $12 shipped. And thankfully, with the modern ground advantage, I actually might make money on this one, or at least get my money back. This is a neat old Tonka pumper truck that is at least clean. I think it's missing a part or two to make the pump actually work. I think the hose is missing, and there's like one other part. But you would pump this thing, and it would shoot the wire. There's a little tank in here, and you could shoot the wire out. And it's clean, no rust, really good shape, and as Tonka trucks, tough as nails. As long as you don't. One of my favorite old commercials is the one where they drive a dump truck off the cliff and they throw a Tonka truck off the cliff, and the Tonka truck lives and the dump truck like blows up or something. So anyway, fun old commercial, but Tonka trucks, I would say they're good flea market and booth items, but not unless you get them cheap enough or get specific models. They tend to be worth what they cost to ship. And so unless they're really old and the really old rare ones, but other than that, they're actually better for like an antiques booth, maybe to a local collector. That way you don't have to worry about shipping things because they're big and heavy and awkward. Okay, next up. I sold 4 of these. Estes in the package, model rockets. 4 of these were $31 plus shipping. I actually charged shipping on this one rather than because I had multiples, and that's what I do with multiples is I actually try to charge shipping. And sold 4 of these, got them for like $3 a piece at a local thrift store that apparently had a batch of about a dozen of them, different ones, all for like $3 a piece. So I grabbed all of them and gonna make money on those. I'll keep going through. Next, these guys. I was a little surprised that these have this sort of value, but these older motocross action figures look kind of like G.I. Joes. And I wonder if it's not G.I. Joe guys that are buying them. But these little motocross action figures, a batch of like 4 figures and accessories and stuff, went for $30. I didn't realize that they went that high. I grabbed them. They were inexpensive enough that I didn't look them up when I first grabbed them. And I grabbed them. I was like, wow, these things went for a good bit. I gotta grab one more thing, but it's a decent sale. And this was a surprise. I grabbed the other day at this specific thrift store. I grabbed a big bag, several bags of die-cast airplanes, which sell well at a flea market. And I was taking a gamble to see if there was any that might be worthwhile. And I knew I could make money at the flea market selling them for $1 or $2 a piece, which is fine. And I started looking them up, and none of the die-cast ones were really worth putting on eBay. But these were. These are Maisto airplane stands for Maisto airplanes. And I've got about 18 of these, and these sold for $20 for the lot of them. I was pleased with that. So never assume. Make sure you're always getting that if you buy a bag full of stuff, sometimes look up the accessory stuff with it, and you may be surprised. So that was a fun flip there. Okay, finally, I think we got through everything. We're going to pretend we did. Sold these infrared range calculator and your GE radar range calculator. And what this is the pamphlet and instruction book to this thing. And I sold both of these to a guy for $35. I probably could have got a little more out of them. But I wanted to fast flip on these to get them out the door. And I didn't and I wasn't getting a lot of hits. And the only other ones out for sale were for like $100. But there were no recent sales. So $100 was way too much. So I started mine I think I started these at $99.99, maybe a little bit less. And I think I started less, got a reasonable offer on them for $35, particularly for what I paid for them and everything. So I said, let's let them go. Did I leave $15-20 on the table? Maybe. But fast nickel over the slow dime sometimes is better. Yeah, I think it would have taken me a lot longer to get a higher amount out of them. So, and I think it kind of time value money probably come out about the same. So let's get them out of the door. So is that everything? Okay. One other handful of finds that I wanted to talk about before we got off. Got these into last week at Goodwill. And I don't even bother looking these up anymore. 2 first Unfinished Tales, J.R.R. Tolkien. This is like a first edition one. This is like a $20 book or so, I think, give or take. Maybe a little bit more. But this is one of the ones I think his son printed them after his death. He got edited and printed stuff. So Unfinished Tales. And probably the best outside of like first editions or like early stuff, the best stuff that is, because they're very limited print runs, I think, of these things. The History of Middle Earth. This was like an 80s and 90s series hardcover. This is like a $40 to $50 book. I've sold one of the ones in the series before. This is sort of how Tolkien developed the story. And so these are neat finds. There's a whole collection of these. This is volume 7. I know I saw one of the other books before for decent money. So it was, I knew I didn't even have to look it up. And I typically grab Tolkien books anyway because they're inexpensive and they lot up well and tend to do decently. So that's my finds. That's my sales. That's when I was on vacation. So 5 days, 15, better than 3 days, 3 sales a day, which is kind of above my average. I tend to do about 2. And it was good to get some money back while I was out. So that's my sales today. I hope you have a good day. I gotta get this stuff packed up and out the door because I got real work I gotta do for my real job instead of my beer money job. And so we will take it off and go from there. Y'all have a good one. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for joining me, Kevin, Lonnie, and Cowboy Bebop Jazz. And I will catch all y'all at some point in the future, probably on Monday, and we'll go from there. I hope. So do you. Bye bye bye.